I get it, there's a ton of keyboards on the market that look amazing in the photos, but when you actually sit down to play they either feel off, sound thin, or just don't live up to the hype. That's the kind of disappointment that makes you hesitant to pull the trigger, especially when you're spending a serious chunk of money on a stage-ready instrument. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's walk through the Nord Stage 4 88 key, see what it really offers in a gig or studio setting, and figure out whether it's worth that investment for you. First off, the Nord Stage 4 isn't trying to be a budget home studio synth, it's positioned as a workhorse for gigging musicians who need piano, organ, and synth sounds all in one unit. The biggest question most buyers have is whether the triple sensor, fully weighted keybed actually translates into a piano-like response that holds up night after night. In my own testing, the keys feel remarkably smooth, with a subtle weight that mimics an acoustic piano without the hammer action heaviness that can fatigue your fingers during long sets. The triple sensor design catches every nuance from a gentle feather touch to a hard-pressed chord, so dynamic control feels natural, which is exactly what a live player craves. Now, the organ section. Nord has built a reputation for its B3 Tonewheel simulations, and the Stage 4 continues that tradition. When you pull up the organ patches, the drawbars respond instantly, and the sound retains that gritty, swirling character you hear in classic Hammond recordings. I tried it in a church rehearsal, and the organ held its own against a real Hammond, especially when I added the rotary speaker effect. That's a practical strength. You get a credible organ tone without hauling a massive, maintenance-heavy instrument onto the stage. The synth engine is where the Stage 4 starts to show its flexibility. You can layer up 3 synth sounds, each with its own envelope and filter settings, and you can attenuate each layer independently. In a live electronic set, I used a bright lead on top of a warm pad and a subtle bass underneath. Switching between those layers on the fly was smooth, no noticeable latency, and the sound stayed clear even when I cranked the resonance. That kind of on-the-fly patch management is a real time saver for performers who need to morph their tone mid-song. One of the hidden trade-offs that shows up after a few gigs is the learning curve around the preset management. The Nord Stage 4 uses a menu system that is logical once you've navigated it a few times, but if you're used to a single knob interface, the first hour can feel a bit clunky. That said, the payoff is you can store a huge variety of patches thanks to the doubled sample memory that now lets you import your favorite Nord piano sounds. For someone who already has a library of Nord samples, this means you can bring those sounds into a stage-focused workflow without buying a separate unit. Who should buy this? If you're a touring keyboardist who needs a single instrument that can convincingly play piano, organ, and synth without swapping gear, the Stage 4 is a solid answer. It shines for gigging jazz pianists who want authentic organ tones for a funk break, or for pop or rock keyboardists who need lush pads and aggressive synth leads on the same board. The instrument also makes sense for studio players who appreciate instant access to a variety of sounds and want the tactile response of a weighted keybed while staying within a compact rack footprint. Who should skip it? If you're a bedroom hobbyist who only ever plays simple piano covers, the price point may feel steep compared to entry-level digital pianos that focus purely on piano realism. Likewise, synth purists who spend most of their time programming deep modular patches might find the Nord synth engine powerful, but a bit limited compared to dedicated synth workstations. And if you need a full-size acoustic piano feel for classical repertoire, a dedicated stage piano with a more piano-centric engine could deliver a more focused sound. Let's talk practical strengths one more time. The keybed's response is consistently smooth, which reduces fatigue during long sets. The organ's B3 simulation is arguably the best you'll find in a digital keyboard, giving you that classic vibe without the maintenance headaches. The 3-layer synth architecture means you can craft complex sounds without needing external gear, and the increased sample memory opens the door to a personalized library. On the flip side, the menu navigation can slow you down if you're not familiar with the workflow, And the sheer versatility means there's a lot of depth to explore, so expect to spend some time digging into the manual or online tutorials before you can fully exploit the features. From a value perspective, the Nord Stage 4 earns its price by consolidating three major instrument categories into one robust chassis, saving you the cost and logistical headache of transporting multiple keyboards. The real money saver comes from the sample memory upgrade. Being able to load your own sounds means you won't need a separate Nord piano for specific patches, which,